All right, folks. I want to put together a quick video here. Just some thoughts on like the origins of demonic entities because it keeps coming up in my group. If you're not in my spiritual warfare group, this is probably going to sound like lunacy to you, but if you are, then you understand why I'm making this video because these kind of subjects come up, and I think I could take a few quick a few quick brush strokes here and cover a lot of this in probably like a 5-minute video is what I'm shooting for here. I want to talk about the possible origins of demonic entities and what spiritual rights they have on the earth and whatnot. So let's just get started here with Genesis 6:4. It says, there were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them. The same became mighty men which were of old, men of renown. It's translated giants here. You'll see it right here on the screen. In the King James, the word is B'nai Elohim, I believe, and it's translated giants in the KJV. But you'll see some of the more modern versions, like the NIV, which I don't really care for, but they've got this word right. They've got it Nephilim. Okay. And that means, I'm pretty sure it means to be fallen, or I can't remember the exact, but it pertains to being fallen. And a lot of people think that term also applies to the watchers that fell. Okay. So these angelic beings took human wives, and they had children to them. And like it says right here, they were mighty men of old and the men of renown. A lot of your Greek folklore comes from that, we believe, at least I believe. And they were most likely the Titans in Greek mythology. Okay, now let's switch over to the book of Enoch here real quick. This is chapter 15, and we'll start at about verse 8. Let me go to this other one here. It's printed a little bigger. Okay. And now the giants who are produced from the spirits and flesh shall be called evil spirits upon the earth. Now stop here. Remember evil spirits, because Jesus calls demonic entities unclean spirits. So remember that term. Okay, and I'll start over from the beginning. And now the giants who are produced from the spirits and flesh shall be called evil spirits upon the earth, and on the earth shall be their dwelling. Evil spirits have proceeded from their bodies, because they are born from men, and from the holy watchers is their beginning and primal origin. They shall be evil spirits on earth, and evil spirits shall they be called. As for the spirits of heaven, in heaven shall be their dwelling. But as for the spirits of earth, which are born upon the earth, on the earth shall be their dwelling. And the spirits of the giants, once again, giants there, but we know that they're Nephilim. The spirits of the giants afflict, oppress, destroy, attack, do battle, and work destruction on the earth, and cause trouble. They take no food, but nevertheless hunger and thirst, and cause offenses. And these spirits shall rise up against the children of men and against women, because they have proceeded from them. Okay. Now, there are a lot of different theories out here. Some people believe in like a pre-Adamite race that may be, demonic spirits on the earth right now. But in my opinion, I think this best explains it to me. I'm not telling you for sure this is what it is. I mean, at this point, we're only working on speculation and hunches. But this is what I believe. This is the most plausible explanation for the origin of the demonic entities that people have experience with when they experience spiritual warfare and spiritual attacks and whatnot. Okay? And as far as their rights to us, I think this covers that too. We're told in the book of Enoch, if you want to take, this, I understand it's an extra biblical text, but, I think we can glean a little bit of understanding from it anyways. Like I said, it's speculation. I'm not guaranteeing it. I don't hold the book of Enoch with scripture, but it's very interesting what we're told here. And I think also, like in the cases in like Matthew, Mark, and Luke, when Jesus runs into the maniac at Gadara, at the Gadarenes, I believe is how it's pronounced. Basically, right here you'll see Matthew 28. We'll move down to 29. And behold, they cried out, saying, What have we to do with thee, Jesus, thou Son of God? Art thou come hither to torment us before our time? Okay, they're asking you, and you know what? The NIV makes it pretty plain over here. What do you want with us? I mean, in my mind, what plays through the theater in my mind is, I mean, they want to know what Jesus wants. I mean, it seems to me like they believe that they're well within their rights to attack this this guy that they've caused to go crazy. And you'll see in other verses, I think it's in Mark 5:5, this guy's out here cutting himself and doing all kinds of things, tormenting his own self, you know. So I think what we can glean from this is they believe they're within their own spiritual rights, and they also talk about, as you'll see here, that they have an appointed time. So they know they have a time on earth, and that kind of lines up with what the book of Enoch says too. They have an appointed time to be here to torment mankind, you know. So it's kind of like, you know, like you got 18-year-old kids partying at a house, they're in there drinking whatnot. Cop knocks on the door. The kids take off running, man. They're not going to stick around because they know they're not within their legal rights to drink alcohol and party at that house, okay? This is just a simple explanation. But, okay, now let's say the 18-year-old kids are now 21, okay? They're throwing a party. The cops knock on the door. What do? They open the door. They don't need to run anymore. They're within their legal rights. So they open the door and they ask the cop, oh, what are you doing here? What do you have to do with us? I mean, you know. So you can see the dialogue changes when you have legal rights to do what you're doing, you know. And that's basically it. You're going to see the same type of language in Mark here. If you want to pause it, you can take a look at it. I've highlighted some things that I think are important. I think it's important that they acknowledge Jesus was the Son of the Most High God. And you'll see similar story in Luke here. And basically, to me, you know, like I said, that starts to establish what you can build upon to show what legal rights that demonic spirits have to human beings and what they don't have. And I think, you know, right here shows that they do, you know, have rights to oppress us. And then let's move on to a verse I found in John. Okay, right here. Now, this is the guy that was laying on the mat in front of the pool of Bethesda, okay? Jesus healed this guy, and he got up, he walked around completely healed. I won't get into the other parts of the story. This guy actually gets on my nerves. He rats Jesus out, but that's another story, and maybe I'll get into that later. I don't know. But as you can see, Jesus tells him, John 5:14, afterward Jesus findeth him in the temple, and saith unto him, Behold, thou art made whole. Sin no more, lest a worse thing come unto thee. Okay? Now Jesus is laying. Now basically, what we're understanding here is this guy's situation that had him paralyzed and laying on a mat came from sin. You know, that's at least a hunch that I have. Okay, from reading the text. But clearly, Jesus is telling him, "Sin no more, lest a worse thing come unto thee." So right there, you can begin to glean from that a little bit more about, you know, the spiritual laws that are happening here, because through sin, these demonic entities are obviously gaining access to people to, you know, cause all kinds of sickness, mental illness, this, that, and the other, you know. And to me, that just sticks out in my mind as a glaring example of when, you know, we're told straight from Jesus Christ himself that sin could bring these types of things upon you. And basically, one more thing I want to talk about too is the spiritual warfare, in my estimation, is basically a war of attrition. And I jotted down the definition for attrition so people can understand in what context I'm using it, okay? The definition of attrition is the action or process of gradually reducing the strength or effectiveness of someone or something through sustained attack or pressure. Okay? So it's something that's going to continue over a period of time, and you're weakening your enemy. And in my mind, that's the essence of the more severe cases of spiritual warfare. And that's another thing that I want to touch on. Let me pull up this verse here. I believe it's in Matthew. Yeah, right here. Okay. Now here's another verse that the NIV and a lot of modern Bibles, you'll notice that if you have a copy of these Bibles, flip open to Matthew 17:21. You'll notice they removed the whole verse of Matthew 17:21 and probably moved it down to the footnotes. You can see they moved it here, and they won't even tell you what the other translations say. Some manuscripts include here words similar to Mark 9:29. Well, get a real Bible, the King James over here, and you'll see Matthew 21's in this print. And it's howbeit this kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting. Okay, now this his son was having problems. I can't remember exactly what was going on, but the disciples were trying to cast the demonic entities out of this man's son, and they couldn't do it. So they come to Jesus, and they're like, you know, basically getting his help. And to make a long story short, go back and read this. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this because I want to make this video short, but here's the important part. is Matthew 21, where Jesus lays out that some demonic entities, when he says how bet this kind, that right there tells us, well, there's more than one kind, because he's saying this kind, that implies two or more. So we've got at least two kinds of demonic entities or unclean spirits, and this particular kind only goes out by prayer and fasting. That's kind of, a lot of people in spiritual warfare, we want a quick fix. It's almost like a take a pill mentality. I got a headache, I take some Tylenol, headache goes away. Well, that's most of the time, that's not the case in spiritual warfare. If you're having issues with demonic entities, you're getting sleep paralysis and this, that, and the other, you've probably done something to allow them in your life. And even if you didn't, regardless, as you can see, they've got legal rights into your life somehow. And, it's not something that you can... It's not a quick fix in a lot of cases. I mean, you may have to pray, you may have to fast, you may have to anoint and bless your home to keep them out of there. You may have to bless your home several times. I know personally I did. But again, I really don't want to get too bogged down in that. I want to make this video as quick and concise as I can do it. I really don't want to run over 5 minutes if I can possibly avoid it. But we're probably over that right now. But one other thing I want to talk about too that's interesting to me. I want to talk about some things that it's scientific speculation, but it's interesting to me. Okay, let me get these images here, and hopefully it'll pull up. It'll record cleanly for you guys. The quality wasn't that high when I was toying around with this earlier. This is the first time I've tried to record a video, so forgive me if the settings aren't quite up to par with what you're seeing out there. But okay, you can clearly see this cloud type shape right here in this picture, okay? Now, I can't validate this picture, and whether or not this picture is real or not, I don't care. So, just save your comments. Trust me, I'm not going to argue about whether the pic is legit or not. I don't care. The important thing to me is the people that I talk to in my spiritual warfare group, and I've probably talked to over 2,000 people at this point, they are seeing things like this, okay? This cloud shaped here, here's one of them, and that's a typical sighting. Sometimes people see them as kind of a dirty greenish gray color. This is one of them. Okay. Here's another one. I think this picture is probably the clearest. But here's another example of what people see. As you can see, this, and again, I don't care if the picture's legit or not, but this represents what people are telling me they're seeing. Okay. That thing was in a cloud form, and it's obviously starting to take the shape of some kind of humanoid figure, and it's made of mist, okay? And basically, to me, that's interesting because plasma is supposed to be electrified gas, okay? So that's one of 4 states of matter. We've got we got solid, liquid, gas, and then plasma is electrified gas. And it's interesting to me, and I really don't know what you do with this information, but people that have experiences with these demonic entities, they often feel buzzing in the air. They get electrically shocked, okay? And another thing that they're responsible for, from what I understand, is you can experience what's called exploding head syndrome. That means, and when people explain this, they say they get an electrical shock to their head from one of these entities. It literally makes them feel like their head's going to explode. So, and I can't remember where I read it, but I thought I'd throw this in there in this video because it's interesting to me that these beings appear to be made of mist, like maybe even a gas, and that the fact that plasma is electrified gas, when they manifest in our reality, they may, this may be, begin to be at least something that needs to be explored, is to figure out whether these things might be manifesting in our reality as plasma / electrified gas. So, that's about all I have. I'm probably going to make some more videos in the future, just as more things come up in the group. If I can cover them in a video and give the explanation out there to where I can post the video instead of repeating myself over and over, I'm probably going to do it. And again, I probably sound like an absolute lunatic to anybody that doesn't have any spiritual warfare experience with these type of experiences, supernatural experiences. If you don't have any experience with that, you probably think I'm crazy. Hey, fine. You know what? Don't listen to the video. That's okay. That's fine with me. I can understand that. But anyways, that's about all I have for today, and we'll see you next time.